Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. You live in Oceanside.
I live in Oceanside.
Where are you from? Are you from Oceanside?
Originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
Spent some time in Philadelphia as well. I am sober since October 11, 2018. Drug of choice was heroin. IV user. Yeah.
What was your life like growing up in Philadelphia and New Jersey? Who's in your family? How'd you do in school? What did childhood look like for you?
Okay, so my mom and my dad, they're a lot years apart from each other. So I think my dad's 33 years older than my mom or something. He had me when he was about 50, right? And I don't know, they used to fight a lot when I was growing up. I don't really remember much of it. I just remember the fighting and just they would be physical with each other. I remember times of just being in a police car, going to the police station and filling out because they were and all that stuff. One day I was in school and my sister's father, because I have brothers and sisters. I have one sister from the same mom, married 3 from my dad, and then 3 brothers. One of my brothers is dead. One day my sister's father came pick me up from school, and I guess my dad had stabbed my mom in the stomach, and she moved us I was living in a place called Paterson, New Jersey, which was more like an inner city, and we moved up to a place called West Milford, New Jersey, and it was a predominantly white community. So, but it was super country, is probably the best way I could put it, and it was just, at first it was cool because we were young. I think I was in 2nd grade at the time, and but then as we got older, it was they started to get racist and stuff, you know what I mean? And I realized that I was different, and my nationality, I'm half black, half Puerto Rican, so my whole upbringing always felt different. At times I didn't feel Puerto Rican enough, I didn't feel black enough, and then I'm in this school surrounded by people that don't look like me, and you're from Paterson, and it was just, I always felt different. And I think the thing that kind of triggered me using or me turning towards drugs and alcohol was just a series of events. I was trying out for the basketball team. I didn't make it. My sister got pregnant at a super early age. She was 15 when she was pregnant. Her dad, who was living with us at that time when we were in West Milford, he was an alcoholic. He wasn't a violent or mean alcoholic, but he drank so much that his kidney shut down. He got a kidney transplant, and he still continued to drink. Wow, okay. He was an alcoholic. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So a series of that, and then my mom was leaving. She met up with some other dude. I don't know, I smoked weed for the first time, and no, I drank alcohol. Alcohol was my first thing. Okay. And I remember my friend got really mad at me. And I guess I was playing too much. I don't remember the exact things, but I didn't have that moment of I want to do this forever. It was just a fun night, and then I smoked weed for the first time, and it was we were smoking a blunt, and I wasn't really smoking it. They did the shotgun. Remember the shotties? And his sister did it to me, and again it was fun. I don't think I got high the first time I smoked weed. I remember the first time I got high from smoking weed, I absolutely hated it because I was super paranoid. Yeah. And but I'm a real deal drug addict. I smoked weed every day since.
Even though you didn't you smoked weed every fucking day over that.
Because it wasn't just about the smoking weed. It was the sense of fellowship. Okay. You know what I mean? I was with a whole new crowd, and it was I felt a part of, and I had shit going on at home, and I just the drugs didn't give me that sense of ease and comfort yet, but the fellowship did.
Totally. No, that absolutely makes sense.
And then somewhere along the lines of living like that, weed became my first crutch. It was I did that every day. And
how old were you when we're talking about this time, when you smoked weed for the first time?
I had to be 14, 15.
Okay. After your dad stabbed your mom. Okay. Did you stay in contact with him? Is he still in your life?
My dad just passed away in March 1st of this year.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you for saying that. Did he stay in contact? Yes and no, because there was a period of time I didn't see my dad at all, and then my mom would take me to go see him.
She did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my mom's like, she'd stand up. Now that I'm older and I've seen like how women sometimes interact in relationships, so she always said, I don't want to say anything bad about your dad.
Yeah.
I want you to have a relationship with
That's
him.
amazing that she facilitated that relationship even after that happened. I can have a lot of respect for that also.
For sure. And so yeah, I would go see him. I would go down to Patterson, New Jersey, and I'd see him from time to time. Also, another big thing that happened too was when we were all living together, my dad had a stroke in front of me, and he was just like seizing on the ground, and it was just, but he was never the same after that. So he like would walk with a limp, and he lived a lot longer after that too.
Yeah.
It like affected him drastically.
Okay.
And
you don't love weed, but you start smoking it every day.
No, I loved it.
You come to love it.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Ooh, I smoked Loud Pack every day for years.
Okay.
That was a hard thing to kick. Like heroin was a motherfucker. I did not like heroin. I loved the way it made me feel, but weed was one of those things that I thought I would smoke until the day I died.
Yeah. I have a friend who, you know how sometimes in rehabs they'll have you write, I never had to do this, they'll have you write a letter saying like goodbye to your drug of choice or something. I think they do this at nicer rehabs maybe, of which I never went to. He actually wrote a letter to weed, even though he was a heroin addict for 20 years. And he was like, you're the bitch mistress, or I'm sorry, to heroin. He was like, you're the bitch mistress who took me away from my true love, weed. Because now I can't smoke weed because you like ruined my ability to do any drugs. And I feel like people sometimes feel that way because now you can't smoke fucking weed either.
But I don't. So now that I'm free from weed,
right,
I realize I don't need that.
You wouldn't want to, anyways.
It's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
Make me slow down.
Totally, exactly, a lot, dude.
And I'm too busy to do that.
Mm-hmm. So how did you do in school wise, like academically? Did you play sports, or did you start smoking weed soon enough that kind of fell off?
So I started smoking weed, and I started getting in trouble a lot in school. Started getting suspended a lot in school. I'm actually super smart, but my problem was I wouldn't be in school because I'd be suspended so many, like, and I can't even tell you for all the reasons. Like, I got jumped and they suspended me for 2 weeks. It was a racist school.
Yeah, that is so fucked up.
Yeah, so eventually send me out to an alternative school, but during this whole time that I'm getting suspended, I'm also running away from home because I don't want to be at home because my sister just had, I don't want to say it's because my sister just had a baby, but it was just a lot. I'm trying it. There's reasons why I can't talk about it in depth. But, so it just, and then I'm watching my sister's father, who's like a father to me, slowly die off of alcoholism in front of my face. Yeah. And he did pass away too. He passed away when I was 19. I'm 33 now. It was just like a series of things, and it was just like my mom was super strict growing up as well, and like I was just like, I'm not scared of you no more. So I was just running wild, and I would just run away a lot. And I don't know, in school, if I was there, I can do good, whatever. But over a period of time and missing it, they sent me to an alternative school where the schoolwork was super easy. It was like, here's a bunch of words in Spanish, here's a computer, look it up and tell me what it means and you'll pass. Right. You know, like it was a joke. Yeah. And I was robbing out of cars. Like unlocked cars.
In high school?
Yeah. Okay. And I got sent to juvenile hall for a few days. I came home on an ankle bracelet. I pleaded out in that case, and then my mom moved us to Philadelphia.
Kind of because of that, to get you out of there, or just for a variety of reasons?
A variety. Like, she doesn't want to be with my sister's dad no more. I'm messing up. We have family in Philadelphia, and she just wants to get us from there to Philadelphia. And
did your sister and her son, your nephew, move with you guys?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And, so then we moved to Philadelphia, and I'm coming from like an all-white school where they put book covers on your school books and stuff, and now I'm in like this ghetto-ass school. Like, this is, I'm trying, like, it's ghetto in this motherfucker. I go in there the first day to go do my orientation. You got to go through metal detectors. Oh. There's a kid getting jumped right in front of us, and whatever. And it was just like a culture shock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So There used to be fights every day, a lot of violence. A part of my probation at the time was I had to go to rehab, and in that rehab I had to go to meetings. So I had a period of not smoking and drinking for about 90 days, maybe like 77 or 87, something like that. And I eventually started smoking weed again and didn't stop ever since then either. And it was just very different, just going from one part living like that to a different part, because in like that environment, drugs weren't cool anymore. You know,
in the new one?
Inside Philadelphia. It's like smoking weed was alright.
Yeah.
But doing things like heroin and maybe I could back up, because that's when I first tried heroin.
Okay, that was my next question.
That's when I first tried heroin, and I didn't, like, I liked the way it felt. And I'm from the East Coast, so we have like wax baggies. They're like
the stamps on them.
Yeah,
that is so. Like, I don't want to say it's cool, but like, I really wish I had seen a baggie with stamps on them.
Yeah,
I never saw, and it's like branded fucking dope. It's crazy to me. We got that shitty. Did you ever do it out here?
No.
Oh my God, it's the grossest, ugliest black tar goop.
I hear
smells like shit. It's horrible. Like, the first time I did it, I was like, bleh. In fact, the whole time until I started shooting it. When I was shooting it, it got a little bit like I could manage it, was fine. But I'd be smoking it like this, like, because it like bubbles. It's so gross. But still doing it anyways, of course.
Yeah.
I'd be like, it is like I'm smoking someone's actual asshole right now. But I'm gonna keep doing it forever, you know? Okay, so you did powder out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even remember like the absolute first time I tried heroin. I just remember there were times of doing heroin. And so the thing was that when I lived in West Milford, since I was from Patterson, they would love me to go with them to Patterson, because it was like I had an excuse to be there. I got pulled over.
Totally.
Like, yeah, I'm just gonna go see my pops or something.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? So they felt more secure. And I don't know, I started smoking weed first, and then, so back when I was younger, the big thing was Oxycontin 80s. Right? So that was big in the neighborhood, and then they dwindled down.
Yeah.
Like all different types of pills and stuff, and I remember doing that. I was more of like someone that I'd try anything. I'd be down to try anything. Ecstasy was really big too when I was coming up, and eventually it just turned into heroin. I had a really good friend named Quentin, and he used to hustle a little bit, and he would get like he started with OCs, ecstasy, and then he moved on to heroin. And like I can't remember the first time I tried it.
Okay.
You know,
did you snort it the first time you tried it?
The first time, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't shoot till way later, and yeah, I tried it. I tried just a little bit, because it only took a little bit to do it. And then I was high as hell, and it was just times like that of me, like, man, telling them like, yo, we shouldn't be doing this, but I'd still get high anyway. And eventually we transitioned from, my family transitioned from New Jersey to Philadelphia. And that's all that I remember in that period. I remember being like, I think I was dope sick, but not knowing that I was dope sick. And at this time when I moved to Philadelphia, I was about 16.
Okay.
Like right before my 16th birthday. And then no heroin, no none of that. I would just smoke and drink. Eventually that's what it turned into. But I would like roam the streets and just little stuff like that.
Did you graduate from high school?
I did. So eventually in Philadelphia, mind you, I moved to Philadelphia, and I meet my mom's new boyfriend the day I moved to Philadelphia, and he's living with us.
Oh no.
So it's just, the household is a crazy dynamic.
Yeah.
Right. And eventually something, again, I don't remember what happened, but I leave Philadelphia. I moved back to go stay with my father in New Jersey, in Patterson, New Jersey. And I graduated from East Side. I just lived in like me and my dad lived in an attic, and it was like we used to sleep on the same bed type shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I was down bad. Like,
was he happy to have you move in with him? Was he like, cool, that's fine, come on? Or was it
Yeah.
like, fucking, I guess?
Yeah, and I don't mean to speak bad about my people, but he was just like, he was very lonely, and he was very like miserable through his life choices. Because my dad never drank. He said he drank a beer once, didn't like the way it tasted, and never drank again. But he had severe anger issues.
Okay.
And he had like borderline schizophrenia, I want to say, because he was always thinking that people were trying to get him.
Oh, interesting.
And
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay.
So he was like he was still accepted by like that part of the family, but he was also just like bitter.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way that I could put it. Like
Okay.
very bitter, and he held a lot of resentments that I don't think he knew what to do with it. He just had a sickness, and yeah. So I lived on Lafayette Street in Patterson. That we lived in the attic above like two of our family members, and so on the East Coast there's a lot of like buildings, like the structures are like buildings. In Philadelphia, it's row homes. So we lived in a building. I lived at the top in the attic, and the house caught on fire. We couldn't live there, and then we moved to my other cousin's house, and we lived in the basement there. And it was like and this is during my high school years, so I used to like sleep on the floor on an air mattress that had a hole in it. So I'd wake up
on the ground.
Oh man, it was horrible.
I've done that. It sucks. It's such a specific feeling that not everyone has, but I am like so well versed in the idea of sleeping on an air mattress that's got a little tiny hole on it, and so when you wake up, you're fully on the ground. But that's what you sleep on it again that night.
Yeah. Oh man, when I first moved to Philadelphia and I went to the high school system there, it was like I'm in 11th grade and there's people my age that can't read. And it was like the weirdest thing. I went from like this super proper school where it was like you get a book and there's not enough. I go to this other school, there's not enough books in the classroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Much less take something home. And there's kids beating up teachers, and it's like, yeah, it's super violent.
Wow.
Like I'm not even kidding. I went to Samuel Fells High School. It was like one of the most violent high schools in Philadelphia.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And
did you get in fights or anything, or did you kind of keep your head down?
I kept my head down. Kept
Okay.
to myself. You know, we're addicts. We know how to maneuver and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I smoke weed. You smoke weed in this school. So
right.
I kept my head down, and it was also different there because over there it's not so much of like all those communities. There's only two. There's Spanish and Black. You know, and I'm both.
Right.
And it's a big Dominican community and a big Black community, and they're both super racist towards each other, like unbelievably racist towards each other. So I'll be walking in school and people will just start speaking Spanish to me, and I'm like,
God.
I don't speak Spanish. Like, you're not Dominican? Like, no, I'm Puerto Rican. And they're like, oh, and they don't speak English either, and they're in high school.
Yeah.
It's like my high school days were just like weird,
chaotic.
Yeah.
Well, it's chaotic.
Yeah.
It's also really hard to. It's hard to like learn and grow as a person when you don't have a base level of stability, which even though your home was safe, moving around, like that's not stable. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Because my aspirations weren't to go to school.
Oh, they weren't? You didn't think like, oh, I'm going to go to college?
That was not an aspiration of mine.
Okay.
I wanted to be like a drug dealer or something.
You did?
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I wasn't popping like that. Like,
right.
I didn't have the plug. You know, I wasn't moving packs.
Well, so actually, that's what I was going to ask you. How did you have money to buy weed to smoke every day?
I would hustle.
Okay.
It was like I would hustle enough to smoke.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I was a bummy ass ghetto kid.
Okay, so it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go to college, I want to be a doctor.
No.
It was none of that.
No.
All right, okay.
And like after like numerous times of like counselors and my mom, they were just like, out of all these kids in the school, you're probably one of the few kids that can go to college.
Right.
So you should at least try.
So your mom would say that too.
Yeah,
you just weren't interested.
Inside the school would pull me to the side and tell me that.
Okay.
Like, out of all these kids, you are one of the few that can actually go to college. I just wasn't interested.
Okay.
I just wanted to be in the run around and I just wanted to do what I want, how I want, when I want.
So after you graduate, what do you do? Where do you go?
Oh man. So I graduate from Eastside High. I go back to Philadelphia because I didn't want to live there, and I was like talking to this girl in Philadelphia. So I ended up going back there. I do a tiny bit of community college just because I felt like I should, and that's what my mom told me. If you want to live here, you got to go to some type of school and work. So I work at McDonald's, and I go to community college. And eventually, me and my mom's boyfriend cannot live in the same roof together. I get kicked out. I stopped going to school, and man, so how do I explain this? I get kicked out my mom's house. My neighbor is this lady who, she has 7 kids at the time, 6 baby dads. She's crazy. And I end up staying with her, but prior to staying with her, my mom like takes me to my grandfather's house, who's not really my grandfather, just says he is. I'm staying there. He's like, man, my girlfriend's about to move in. You got a week to figure it out and leave. So I call that my neighbor. She says I could stay with her, and I'm sitting outside. He lives in South Philadelphia, right? So it's like where I stayed up there was Northeast Philadelphia, like borderline North Philadelphia. I'm sitting out there, I'm looking, and I just see this kid just walking up, and he's just creeping like this, just creeping. And my nosy ass sitting on the fucking stoop, like, what is he doing? Is he about to shoot somebody? Ooh, and he just gets up, and then, so what I don't realize is that the people he's shooting at have guns, and they start shooting back at him. So, bullet go right here, breaks the window right next to me. And I'm like, I run inside. And mind you, I'm outside waiting for this lady to come pick me up so I could go live with her. And then she finally gets there, and all the cops are there and everything. And then I go stay with her inside this chaotic household with fucking 7 kids.
How old was she?
I don't know.
Were you hooking up with her?
No.
Okay.
That's a valid question, but I was super cool with her sons.
Okay.
So she had kids of variety of ages.
Okay.
Like one being an infant, like a small
I was picturing
infant.
her being like 45 or 48 or something, and like an 18-year-old you know, maybe she's like a cougar or something.
She might have been a cougar.
Okay.
But I never, like, I was
You never found out personally.
I was uninterested.
Okay.
To say the least. And if my people are listening, no disrespect to your mom. but I was cool with her sons. I was cool with both her sons.
Okay.
And I ended up staying there for maybe like a month. But she was just, no disrespect to my peoples. You know your mom's a little crazy, all right? Right?
I'm sure they know.
And she was doing like my last straw of staying with her was like there's like one of the people, she was beefing with everyone like in our neighborhood.
Okay.
Like over a series of things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it's like, since I'm living there now, I inherit this beef with a gang of people all around the neighborhood. She like called the cops and said this one boy had a gun and had them run down on him. She like ripped up this other dude's stuff, and it just became like, I'm like, I don't need these. I'm a nut. You know what I'm like? I ain't fucking with my family right now. I just almost got killed over here on some shit that had absolutely nothing to do with me, and now I got a beef with fucking like 10 other guys. Like,
oh my God.
It was. So I ended up going back to New Jersey, and just hopping on couch to couch. And then my one boy that I grew up with, he was living at a place in Haskell, New Jersey, and he also didn't have a lot either. So like his mom let me stay there, but it was like we had nothing pretty much. Like we used to sleep on the floor. Like you see how you have cushions on your couch? We used to take the cushions out, put them on the floor, and that'd be our bed.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? And eventually, because I wasn't talking to my mom because I got in a bad fight with her boyfriend. Also at the time, so when I was staying with my neighbor, like I got this fucking bright idea that I had to get out of here, and I was like, working at McDonald's isn't gonna do it. So I was like, I'm just gonna rob my house. And I fucking went in there and I stole my nephew's piggy bank. And I took like a bunch of different things. And my mom instantly knew it was me and called the cops on me, and I had to go spend the night in jail. But it was just like I was just so bitter and angry towards my mom at the time for choosing her boyfriend over me. Yeah. And so I'm out on bail in Philadelphia, or ROR, and then I'm living in New Jersey, and it's like I gotta be low key, because if I get stopped, I'm going right to jail. And I ended up working at a hotel in New Jersey. Mind you, during this time, the only things I'm doing is smoking weed and drinking. Right before I left from Philadelphia, though, one of the that lady, one of the guys she was beefing with used to sell heroin, and I didn't know this, but her son had found the heroin And I took it, and I was like, no, give me it. And I did it. And that was like probably the last time from the age of 15 to like the age of 19 that I really did heroin.
Okay.
But I used to think about it every single day.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to think about heroin every single, like in some type of thought or some type of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I didn't use it. And then I used it, and I didn't use it immediately when I went back to New Jersey, but it was like, I still thought about it. I don't know how to, it was like in the back of my head somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I'm living with my boy, his mom, who I call my aunt. So there's 7 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment. You know, it's like over, and I'm working at this hotel, and I'm giving her, like, I'm contributing. You know what I mean? So I didn't make much. Minimum wage was like $8.
Yeah.
Imagine that now, like $8. You know what I mean? But I'm giving her a little bit of what I got. You know what I mean? Or like I'm contributing. And she saved enough of the money to buy me a bed so I didn't have to sleep on the floor. You know? And I remember laying in that bed thinking like, all right, I might have a chance. And the very next day, my house burns down to the ground.
That house?
That little apartment, it burns down. It was on Easter. And I mean everything.
Wow. How did that even happen?
So since it was Easter, buildings.
Yeah.
Right? The people, like apartment buildings, the people next door were partying, and apparently they flicked a cigarette and it caught something on fire.
Wow.
Theirs got on fire, and it made our stuff get on fire.
Oh, shit.
And it literally burned everything down.
Yeah.
And these are prescription, like sunglasses. Like I wear glasses. I didn't have my glasses.
Oh, no.
I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have shoes.
Yeah. Everything was gone.
Everything. Okay. Everything. I ran outside. So, mind you, I was in that little fire before, and I wasn't thinking that much. But she woke me up in the middle of the night. She said, CJ, get the kids. The house is on fire. So I get the kids, and she had like a little dog, and we go outside, and I look up, and it's just fire.
Jeez.
And I remember like feeling the burns and all that stuff, because it's like that. And it was just like, it done.
Yeah.
And so we went from there, and we all lived at the place where I worked at, the hotel, which was very interesting dynamic. And so I'm down bad. All right, I'm like, I'm negative at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't got no family. I done lost every single thing that I own. And I went from sleeping on the floor to not, like I had nothing. You know, I'm just trying to describe like how I felt internally. Like I felt horrible.
Yeah.
There was this boy that I worked with, and he was from like a bit north New Jersey, Suffolk, or like one of those northern New Jersey towns, hillbilly towns, and he was like, man, you from Patterson. I know you could get dope. I know you could get it. Come on, just get it. And I'm like, Jeffrey, I don't want to do that to you. No, Jeffrey, sorry. No. And like one time, I don't know if I was lonely or if it was like the thought finally, I was like, come on, let's go then. And we went down, and we got some, and we got high, and that's when it kicked back up.
Okay.
That's when it really like, so I'm like, and it wasn't like weed where I used it every day, because I know that I can't be successful using heroin. So it's like there's a part of me that I love the effect produced by sniffing heroin, but I know that this is going to get me absolutely nowhere.
Okay, so you wouldn't do it every day?
No, I didn't want to.
Okay.
If I could do it and not have any consequences, I would.
Right.
But I didn't want to. And it took a long time for me to get
strung out.
Yeah. Again, you know. So I'm using it here and there. I can't tell you how consistent it was, but there's just like a part of me that's like trying to stop, but like it's like a nonstop battle. It starts messing with my relationships, starts messing with my work performance. I mean, when I first started using heroin, it like did exactly what it needed to do. You know what I mean? It was like I could have sex for a long time. I feel like a champ. I had a bunch of energy.
Totally.
And it was
totally. In the beginning, it makes things better.
Yeah.
Like I lost a bunch of weight. I would be up all night making I would teach spin at that time. I was teaching spin and bar doing meth and heroin. And in the beginning, I lost all this weight, and I would like stay up making like playlists, and they were so good, you know, like in the beginning. And I think a lot of like civilians, like non-users, don't realize that.
Right.
You're not train spotting day one.
That's
in
what
the beginning, you feel good.
Yeah, like I'm not nodding off.
Right.
It's like I have a bunch of, I might throw up.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then,
I would too.
And then once I do, I'm great.
Totally. Me too. Me too. And just keep going.
I'm fabulous, you know. And it only takes a little bit. In New Jersey, for a wax baggie, it was $5. Okay. And I could do like a half of a $5 bag, and I'm good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
did you feel after the fires and all that shit, like that shooting that you didn't even know who was involved, the crazy, like, did you feel like life is very unfair and I don't know how I'm ever going to get out of this cycle? Did you feel that? You must have.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I felt like God was picking on me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there ain't no way. How can it be this shitty? Mind you, I'm only like 19.
And you're only 19.
Yeah. Like I'm like,
like the day I get to bed, my house burns down. I almost got shot. Yeah. I don't even know the people.
I'm like, what the fuck? It can't be no worse than this.
Right.
Like,
totally.
And
of course, because you have an awareness too that other people's lives aren't like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so of course you would feel like that was unfair.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm working. I'm trying to acquire things. I'm starting to mend relationships, because I remember like my biggest thing was like after working, like you could buy clothes, and this is like, now I'm kind of grateful for that experience, because I've learned materialistic things can go like that. They don't define me. Yeah. I can lose all that and I can grind to get it back.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? And like I'm grinding and I'm getting like little stuff back. My mindset was I'm gonna get it back but better. And I like got my tax return and I got a little car. It was like a little Pontiac Grand Am, you know what I'm saying? A little hoopty, and it was like it was alright, but I just couldn't shake the heroin. You know, like I would use it. And it wasn't like a every week thing, but it might have been like once a month.
Okay.
You know, and like in this process, I started talking to my mom again. I started talking to my pop again, and because my relationship with my pop was a little rocky, because he didn't like the fact that I left him to go back to Philadelphia. Again, bitter, lonely old man. You know, and rest his soul. And I'm like, I remember I went, picked him up in my little hoopty, took him out to eat, and paid for the whole thing, and then dropped him off. You know what I mean? Just to show him, like, nah, fuck that, I'm alright. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what the heck happened. Just heroin, just over the period of time of just not being able to shake heroin. And mind you, once it became that I was using it like once a week to like every day, I would try to stop. Like I would try to stop, and I would go into these state-funded facilities. You ever been in a state-funded facility?
That's all I've been to.
Okay, so I've been to a couple. So I've been a little bougie. And not even bougie.
Oh, you've been to bougie places?
But I had insurance and I didn't know it. I had my mom got insurance.
See, your generation got to go to nice. It doesn't even matter where you're from. You can go to a nice rehab if you have good insurance, which is actually great now.
Right.
That wasn't the case before. Now I think it's great that anyone with insurance can go. You go to fucking SERC. Yeah. Is that where you went?
No, I went to PPR. But this was way.
But this is a long time ago.
So just I didn't know I have insurance, because again I'm barely just talking to like my peoples, and like I'm trying to get, like, I want to stop, but I don't want to stop smoking weed. I don't know about this AA or NA. I don't know about none of that stuff.
But you would go to like detoxes and shit?
So hear me out, right? So my first detox that I went to was a state-funded place called Straight and Narrow in Paterson, New Jersey, right? And when you go there, you can't wear your own clothes. You got to wear the scrubs. You got to get butt naked. You got to put the stuff on so you don't get lice, and you're sleeping in the dorm room, and you're eating some garbage food, and it was horrible. And I remember sitting there, right, because I did my time. I'm about to get picked up in my car. I had a Mercedes at the time. I grinded up to a Mercedes, and I remember the lady asking me, like, so are you ever going to come back and be here again? I was like, miss, you'll never in your fucking life see me in this dirty ass place again. I can guarantee you'll never see me in here again. And they gave you like a little like a little wristband with your face on it, and like you're allergic to this, date of birth. And I wore it for like 30 days just to remind myself that I never in my life want to be in that place again.
Yeah.
And I didn't even make it to 30 days. I smoked weed, and then I couldn't, like, it was like, man, a bag of heroin sounded nice now. And every time I would do it, I would like have it in my hand, I would look at it, and I knew that I shouldn't be doing it. I knew I should just throw it out. I should just maybe just call somebody, you know, even though they might not do heroin, they might not understand, but I shouldn't, and I would still do it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like became a cycle.
Yeah.
I always wanted to stop, but I didn't want the tools that were provided for me, because it was just so foreign. Just going to so I went back to that place, straight and narrow, probably 2 to 3 more times during my thing. And then I found, like, eventually I was like, Mom, I told my mom, like, I'm trying to kick heroin and I can't. And she was like, well, you got insurance, figure that shit out, go to meetings. And then I called the back of my insurance card, and I went to Las Vegas. They flew me out to Vegas to go to get sober, and I couldn't get sober. Like, I'm a hardcore, like when I get sober, when I'm free of drugs and alcohol, I just start snapping on people.
Oh, okay.
And I can't, like, I don't know why.
Interesting. Okay.
Like it's like as soon as the Suboxone wears off and stuff, I'm just snapping.
Okay.
And I need something in my system to calm me down, because I'm so angry. I have all these resentments. I have all these things that's going on with me, but I don't know that that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm plagued by this fear and all this stuff, and I'm just, like, I get sober and I just know I don't like the way it feels, and I don't want this white man telling me what to do, so I'm snapping. And like, I embarrass myself a lot. It's probably the best way I could put it. And that was the first time I went out of state for a 30-day inpatient. In my clothes, I found a bag of heroin, and I did it.
Okay. While you were there?
While I was there.
Okay.
And then I leave, and I started to get high again. Now, mind you, that same boy that we went, and my boy Jeffrey, he died from a heroin overdose.
Okay.
Right? And then all my people that are, like, getting high, they're, like, fucking doing horrible.
Yeah.
And I don't want this for me, but I can't shake it.
Yeah.
I just can't shake it. And then I go back to Las Vegas for the second time, and I'll never forget, like, I snuck out with a bunch of people. We go walk. Las Vegas is big, first of all. Like, that shit ain't no. We walk from one part hours to get to the Strip.
Okay.
And we find weed. We smoke weed. I end up back at the place, because I don't got no phone or nothing. And the lady, like, pulled me to the side, like the head program director. And she was like, CJ, I can't help you. Like, and she wasn't even mad at me. That's, like, I'll never forget that look on her face. Like, she was just like bewildered. Like,
yeah.
I cannot help you. Like, this place can't help you, CJ. And that's when it started to click in my head. Like, I might be fucked. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I've been to rehabs, Las Vegas twice, Florida a few times, New Jersey, just.
When you were in these rehabs, and would they take you to meetings usually, or have meetings?
They would take me to meetings. In the detox, there would be people. So since I was like 16, I've attempted to go to AA meetings. So my first time going to a meeting, one of my boys was on probation. They mandated him to go, and we went there, but he just, like, left to go smoke weed. That was my first time walking into a meeting. Right. And then my first time actually trying for myself to go to a meeting was when I was 16, and I just moved to Philadelphia. Okay. That's when I got 77 days. Yeah. I would go hang out at it's similar to a Milano club out there. Okay. But it was like you could smoke cigarettes in the meeting room back then. Oh, crazy. Yeah. Maybe like a VFW hall. Sometimes those are like that. Or the Moose Lodge. Something like that. Okay. So I remember just sitting there playing spades with the old heads while they smoked cigarettes and stuff. And there's one dude, I guess he was trying to be my sponsor at the time. And he would, like, it was a black guy. His name was James Perkins. I'm so sorry, James Perkins. If I ever run into you, man, I owe you an immense. But he would, like, pick me up, take me to meetings. And he was trying to be, and I didn't know this at the time, because I'm like, I don't really know about the AA program. Right. Even though I'm in the meetings, it's like certain things would stick, but not like I don't remember them saying get and use a sponsor. They probably said it at that, but maybe I wasn't listening. Some of the things that stuck with me was they would say like, even when I'm not thinking about it, I'm still thinking about it, and I have an obsession to getting used, and like certain things stuck with me, but it was like I wasn't ready. I was
totally.
only like 16, 17, and it was like,
yeah.
But I would still go, and I acquired a few times, and I was going to rehab at that time.
Okay.
And the reason I say sorry to James Perkins is that he took me into his house, and he gave me a Xbox 360. Like, I don't know if he gave it to me, but he like was like, here, you could just, I don't play this shit, huh? And I sold that thing to get a tattoo.
Oh, shit.
And I never talked to him again. So
no.
James, if I ever run it, I'm sorry, man. I live out here in Oceanside, California. if you
want to contact him.
Just, I'm sorry, bro. And I didn't know.
It wasn't even for drugs, it was for a tattoo.
Yeah.
So did you believe, like when you went out to Vegas, and I have two questions.
Okay.
One, I want to know when you switched to needles.
Okay.
But also, did you believe I'm an addict, or did you think I just need to stop doing heroin? I'm not like a drug addict.
Right. So,
what did you think?
Okay, so the first question is, did I believe that I was an addict?
Yeah.
So that's like a double-edged sword. Is that my whole life growing up, I knew that there was something different about me, that I always found myself in trouble. Okay. Like from my earliest age, I remember one time, like when we first moved to West Milford, like my mom tried to integrate me to go like play with like the little kids, and I went to this little kid's house, and I don't know how, but I finessed him out of all his Yu-Gi-Oh cards. No, Pokemon cards. All his, like every single Pokemon card. And he had to, like, I'm at home chilling, counting up like and the knock on, and his mom and the boys there, and my mom's like, what did you do, bro?
So you dope fiended this kid out of his cards before you were a dope fiend,
just
is what you're saying.
Yeah.
See, that's what I think too. We have these behaviors long before we get high. That's my thought too.
Yeah, like there was always like something.
Like a crafty side.
It's not even just a crafty side, but I have this intense selfishness. This intense self-centeredness of I want what I want, and no matter what, I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna do what I want to do no matter what. And once that meets heroin or drugs and alcohol, and I realize that I like the way that this makes me feel, it's gonna blot out everything else. I need this every single day, and that's how I felt about weed at first. But I could still like kind of like move around while I'm smoking weed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I might not be reaching my fullest potential, but I can still, like with heroin, after a point in time, all that's out the window.
Totally.
It's like I'm consumed with getting and using heroin. That's all. Yeah. And when did I start using needles? So one thing, I'm super afraid of needles. Yeah. Super afraid, right? So
isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I know.
But I needed to get high.
Yeah.
And like once you start sniffing heroin, it's like, how do I describe this? Is that my nose is super clogged. Okay. So I'm like, and it's just falling out. I can't sniff any more heroin, and I'm sick, and I can't sniff enough to get me high, and my boy is shooting heroin. And I'm like, all right, bro, can you just shoot me up? Please, can you please just shoot me up? Because I try to do it myself, but I'm too shaky, and I can't do it.
It's very intimidating at first also.
Yeah.
That's the first time someone said that was the reason, and I'm surprised I haven't heard that sooner, that your nose gets clogged, because that happened to me with cocaine, but I smoked heroin. But you're the first person I've met that switched to needles because you couldn't sniff anymore. Yeah. But that totally makes sense.
Yeah. It just got to that point
where
it was like, I just can't.
Yeah. Did the guy show you how? God, I was really bad at like hitting at first.
Yeah. He's, and this is like my best friend.
Right.
So he also passed away. He walked in front of a train. So, yeah, rest in peace to anywho. I don't want to say their names because I don't want their memory to be. But that was my man's. Like he showed me how to hustle. Yeah. And he showed me how to shoot up, and it took a really long time to get comfortable with it. But once I made the switch to needles, I never switched back.
Same.
And Just nonstop. I can't hold a job really. You know, I try my hardest. I'm living back in Patterson, New Jersey, with my pop. We're staying in some basement, a different basement from the air mattress, and it's like me and him share a room, probably this big. His bed's there, my bed's here, and it's like my life isn't what I imagine it to be. You know what I mean? Like it's like Facebook's a big thing, so I'm seeing everybody fucking living out their big,
buy houses, get married,
just, you know, living fulfilling lives, and I'm fucking stuck on stupid, and it just wasn't what I imagined. But I can't shake heroin. No matter, I've been to Suboxone doctors. I found the best Suboxone doctor. You go see him, he'll give you 8 milligrams 3 times a day, a 30-day script. That's 90 Suboxones. You know what I mean? And you just got to see him for 3 minutes, and he'll write that script. Right. And I can't, like, I just can't. I cannot stop doing heroin. Yeah. And I'm trying, like, I'll check myself into these outpatients. Every now and again, I'll go into a detox, and I guess, like, towards the end, I just found myself, like, pitiful is the best way I can put it, is that I'm uninterested in having sex. I'm super lonely because I've gone so far down that I don't want to see anybody. I don't want any of my friends to see me. So towards the end, I'm at on a 5 gram a day habit. Okay. Bad, right? So, and again, we have wax baggies. They come in the bundle, and I would get to wake up. I'd be like on the verge of shitting myself, right? I'd go into the bathroom. My pops is in the room right there. There's like a small, like there's a room outside of that, and then there's like a bathroom. And I would go lock the bathroom. I'd open up 10 wax baggies. Since you don't know what it is, it's like I don't know why they tape it the way they tape it, but it's a hassle to open up one bag.
That's so annoying.
Yeah, so I gotta open up 10 bags. All right, and then I'm pouring it into like a little cap like this. Yeah, this is I don't know if you can see this, right? So in these little caps, if the dope,
there's the ridges on the side. I know what you're gonna say.
Right in there, I'm fucked.
Totally.
Because I need
I know what you're talking about.
I need every little bit, right? And then I finally get it into, hopefully I was able to get the perfect needles that are 50 cc where I can get them all. Because when you go to the store to buy needles, they treat you like shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't got these, I only got these, and motherfucker, I know you got the right needles.
You're a pharmacy.
Yeah. And I fucking, I'm in there, I'm trying to get it. I finally get it. It's in there, and then it's like I'm poking myself nonstop, because if God forbid I didn't drink enough water, my shit is fucking.
Would you ever start doing like jumping jacks to get your blood flowing?
I didn't know about that.
I would. I'd be doing like burpees outside behind a 7-Eleven.
No, I moved like an old man. My pops used to talk shit to me a lot.
Did he know what you were doing?
Yeah. Okay. I think because at first, when I first told him I was doing heroin, he didn't know, but after that, he knew. Okay. And because I used to walk around like this, like a fucking zombie, like The Walking Dead, you know. And then I remember towards the end, and this is the most important part, was that after doing all that in that pitiful state, on the floor, crouched up, finally hit, I wouldn't even get high. And that was the worst part, is that it didn't do it anymore. Yeah. You know, and it was like, then I just go back into the room, and it just be like, I don't got nothing going on. I don't got nothing to look forward to. I'm just fucking pitiful. Yeah. You know, and I don't know how I want to stop, but I want to stop, you know. And I already burnt every rehab, every imaginable, I don't want to say every connection, but it was like, again, I go to rehabs, I get like the Suboxone result, and I'm not pleasant to be around. I'm fucking, like, I lash out, and I don't know why. You know, at the time, I don't know why. So towards my last remaining time of using, was I went to a rehab in California, right? And this was in Orange County, and I'm sober for a little less than 6 months, a little less. And during this time, it's hard to sum all this up, so I'm going to slow down. So I get there, and I realized that I need something. So I talked to the psychiatrist, and she puts me on all of these medications. Like fucking, I'm on, Seroquel is?
Yes.
They got me on 150 milligrams first thing in the morning.
In the morning?
I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. And I'm on like all these other anxiety and all this stuff, all this gabapentin, fucking. I can't even remember like a gang of it. Like I used to be in the thing, and if I'd sat still too long, I fall asleep.
Right.
You know, like I'm fucking. But it gave me enough grace or enough time to actually have someone be my sponsor and attempt to work the steps.
And you had never done that before?
No.
Okay.
And I started to have a perspective change from doing the steps. When I first started doing the steps, it was the fourth step where it really started to click in my head. That and the prayer. Because he used to tell me to read pages. So I go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I know I didn't really like drinking. I would prefer to shoot heroin. Like even if I'm dead sick, I remember one time I was dead sick. I'm on my way back and like I could drink. I took a sip. No, I don't fucking want this.
Same.
I'd rather be sick and wait till I could get high. You know. But I go to Alcoholics Anonymous because if you really read the literature, it's like their main focus is that when we put something in our body, when CJ puts something in CJ's body, something happens to him it's abnormal. Is that I start and I cannot stop. And my mind will override everything else to keep this feeling alive. And once I stay stopped, my head will convince me it's okay to pick one more up, no matter what. No matter how far away I stay from it, my head will fucking convince me to get loaded, and it centers in my mind.
Yeah.
And when I was going through the steps, and I get to this fourth step, and I started writing down like my resentments. Pardon me.
That cap thing, by the way, is so specific. Like I remembered being outside of a Carl's Jr. in somebody else's car shooting meth, and a bunch of it got caught behind the ridges of a Gatorade cap. I remember right now being like, fuck! And trying to like pull it out on the side. That's like such a specific memory that only a fucking needle user might have.
Oh my God.
So anyways, okay, so you're writing your resentments.
And it's been so long that I forget stuff like that.
Me too. When you said it, I forgot about it till right now.
Yeah, I forget about how hard it is to try to find it.
Yeah,
I forget about how I walked around pitiful constantly.
Yeah.
And people used to look at me with disgust, and how my pop used to ask me, why the fuck can't you just stop?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And me not knowing why.
Right.
And anyway, the reason I'm bringing all this stuff up is I start doing my fourth step. Now, a lot of people in AA or in Alcoholics Anonymous, not a lot, but a lot of people that I've had experience with don't really read the literature, and they don't really know how to do the steps directly out the book, right? So my sponsor at the time did the best he could. You know what I mean? He sent me to a 4-step workshop, and it was like 5 people writing their 4 steps at the same time for like an hour and a half.
Okay.
But it was cool because I started the process.
Yeah, totally.
I started the process.
Yeah.
And I just started to have these perspective changes where it's like I'm mad. I was resentful at my pop for stabbing my mother and not being there, but it's like I'm holding on to this resentment for fucking years, and it's tearing me apart. It's affecting every relationship I have with every man, because it's like, man, if my pops ain't there, who the fuck is you to tell me what to do? Like, I cannot be it, and I wish I like saw it right away, but it just like it was a lot at first. And anywho, I go through the steps. I make it to about step 12. Me and my sponsor at the time have fallen out. I never fully make a connection with another sponsor, and I relapse December 17th, 2017. My sobriety date is October 11th, 2018. I could not stop.
Damn, you used for almost another year.
I could not stop.
Okay.
And that's after going through I could not stop.
Yeah.
And I was going to morning meetings, but the thing was that I was not living a spiritual lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Were you out here still?
No, I went back to
home?
New Jersey.
Okay.
And how do I say this? Because it was like we did some foul shit. I got kicked out of my sober living, and all these people that were with me, right, that sounded good, they had meth already, they were smoking, and I was like, I don't like going up, I like going down. And I was like, yeah, I'll hit the weed. And I hit the weed, and I knew it wasn't a good idea. And it wasn't even good weed, it was like some Reggie, it was like some bullshit. And I knew it wasn't a good idea, but I didn't realize that what I was really signing myself up for, because it was like that's when I started using 5 grams a day. That's when it was like a non-stop of like just heartache.
Yeah.
Just down bad.
Yeah.
Down bad. And
how did you have money to buy dope usually?
I want to say, right, but I don't want to say.
We can say allegedly.
I don't know. It might come back on me.
All right. Okay.
If you want to edit it out.
Yeah, you tell me because I'm curious, and I'll pull it out.
Okay, thank you.
I'll pick the editing back up here and just say that, okay, so CJ told me what he used to do. He doesn't want to say it out loud.
Yeah.
It's fraudulently related, which is sad. And that could be a variety of things. That could be anything.
Yeah. But
okay, but you had a hustle that would sustain you. That was my main question.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so during... And I tried to work every now, in between that, like I tried to work, but I couldn't really hold down a job. Now I'm asthmatic, so let me tell you how pitiful I am, right? So I used to be hardcore asthmatic, smoke Newport 100s, and then sniff heroin, and this is also part of the reason why I stopped. Because, so like I remember one time I'm working at a different hotel, and I have to stop. I don't have an inhaler, so I have to carry around the machine. You ever see the asthma machines where it's like it blows the smoke and it... do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't think so, because I think only like old people have that.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'd have to hide out like somewhere and hit the thing, the
asthma machine.
Like, but I mean, I have to hook it up. I have to put the solution in it, and then I have to run it, and I have to and breathe out that motherfucker. Yeah, like pitiful. There's been times I had to go to the emergency room to try to get like steroids and stuff, because it's like, so when you're doing heroin, like I'm smoking a gang of cigarettes, and when I sniff it, it fucks my lungs up,
right too. Oh yeah. Okay,
so it's like sometimes it becomes super intense. That's also part of the reason why I switched over to needles, because I just couldn't I couldn't breathe.
Okay
And I couldn't stop either. So
you get 6 months, you're doing steps, you're starting to have a perspective shift. And I like that you add that, because every time I would get sober for some period of time and I would do some steps, I was totally learning things, and I can recognize that now. And so for people that like relapse and go in and out, I want to highlight that you were still learning something in that time. Like you can still recognize it as part of your foundation later, you know?
So I'm glad you say that, because looking back, there are important things I've learned. I learned during that stretch of time.
Okay.
One of the things was the importance of having a sponsor.
Right, okay.
And how, because in my head, you know, when you go to AA, a lot of people are white in AA. So like my head would tell me like, I can't ask no white man for help. Like it's it's a whole nother level of demoralizing.
Okay.
To go ask an older white man for help.
Is that a common feeling?
I don't know. I can just tell you, for me personally,
okay,
they have to look like me.
Okay.
They have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it's another block for me to overcome. And luckily, the guy that was able to be my sponsor, he was just a little bit older than me at the time. You know, so he was younger, and he was like from the East Coast, and it wasn't more like I didn't view him more like in that fatherly resentment way. I viewed him more like a brother, you know, so it helped.
Okay.
It helped. Like I could talk to him. And prayer, I learned how important it was to pray. So I have this mean resentment towards God and religion. You know, one of the hardest things of watching my house burn down was the lady that took me in. She also lost all her stuff. And she was like kind enough to let me sleep on her floor. You know what I mean? And she cried nonstop, and she used to pray to God a lot. So it was like... And
so you felt like it doesn't even work, obviously.
Right. Like this shit don't make sense.
And,
And
what about that time? What about prayer started to feel different for you in this period?
so one of the things that was requested of me was to wake up in the morning, get on my knees and pray and read pages 60 to 63 out the big book, right? And I remember reading it and not understanding, but I also remember praying and like feeling stupid because I'm like totally disconnected from everything and everyone around me. You know what I mean? Like I have these blocks going on over just doing it every single day. I remember I did my 4th step, I did my 5th step. I'm like I'm inside this rehab. I'm fighting with, I'm like, I don't know what I was arguing with someone about. My sponsor didn't answer, but I got on my knees and prayed like I've been doing for like 90 days or whatever prior to. And I remember praying, getting up and feeling okay.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like not like I'm walking, but just okay.
Yeah.
And for someone that my whole life I felt just, I can't even describe it, just that intense, like always at odds with everything they're trying to get me to feel okay was like, I don't, it was like that's when I started to think this might work for me. So I learned the importance of prayer and the routine of it, sponsorship, and then the steps and going to meetings. But I didn't understand what it meant to be spiritual. And I'm not talking about like praying a lot. I'm not talking about that stuff. But I didn't understand like the things that I do, like in between going to meetings and doing this stuff. Like I have to watch that shit.
That's what you started to say. You weren't living a spiritual life, though.
Exactly.
What do you mean by that? You can give hypotheticals.
Oh man.
Or just generalized examples. Like, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here and say maybe like relationships were something that you weren't spiritual about. I don't know, because I don't know why else you wouldn't want to say it.
Yeah. So well, one thing I will share is that I was working at Ralph's, you know, the supermarket store, and I'm like pushing and collecting carts.
Okay.
And this lady left her wallet in the cart. And my first didn't even think about it. I open it. There's $300. I take it. I put the wallet in the trash can.
Right.
No, didn't even fucking think twice.
That's a good example.
Right.
Yeah.
And then as like a couple of days go by, I start to feel bad.
Okay.
Which has never really happened to me because my head will always say, well, CJ, you needed the money. Motherfucker, you work at Ralph's. You're in a fucking rehab. You need this money more than this lady who can casually leave $300 in a purse in a shopping cart. But I felt bad. And like the idea of if I'm connected to this power, why would I need to do that? If I really trust and everything's going to be taken care of, why would I do that? You know, and it like I just felt bad.
Yeah,
that's probably the best way.
I love that though, because that's different from like guilt and karma. That is a faith thing. Like if I have enough faith, I don't need that money. Because you hear people like that you feel guilty, you stole from someone, it's karmic. But that's a different way to look at it also, which is faith. If I say I'm actually have faith in this higher power, I don't need to steal. Actually, I mean that's a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. You weren't living in a spiritual way.
Right.
When you look back, you can say.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I felt it, but I didn't know exactly. Like, I kind of did, but not to the extent now.
Okay.
And just, we could say relationship stuff.
Okay.
I just, you know, I did some immature stuff.
Yeah.
With a bunch of my housemates. We got kicked out. And I had no defense against the first one when it came. When they had that joint of that weed, and I'm sitting there and they're sniffing meth, and I'm like, I don't want meth. Well, I'd try some heroin if you had it. And then it was like, okay, I'll just hit the weed. Also at this time, I'm on a gang of medication, so I wasn't completely relieved or done with the idea of I'm not gonna ever smoke weed again. You know, like that was still a possibility.
Okay.
A reservation is probably what this, like maybe somehow, someday I can still successfully smoke weed. Sure. You know, and I'm glad that I smoked weed that time because now I completely understand that I can't even smoke weed. Like there is no delusion in my head that I know what happens if I put something in my body, you know, and it just got worse.
Okay.
It just went downhill from there.
So October 2018, where do you go? What happens?
So October 11th, 2018, someone from that previous rehab reached out to me, and they were like, how are you doing? And I'm like, fucking horrible. And he reached out to me at the right time, and I'm like, man, I don't got no more insurance. I'm 26 at the time. That's when the insurance runs out, when you're on your parents' insurance. And I don't know if they scholarshiped me or if my mom had or if I was still able to come on my insurance, but he found a way to get me to a inpatient program. So I go to Journey Pure.
Okay.
It's in Tennessee, right? And I'm fucking kicking a 5 gram a day habit, IV. It was the worst detox I've ever been to. And I'm, again, pitiful. I'm fucking throwing up. I can't eat nothing. The only things I could do is curl up in the ball and say, nerd! 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 Help!
Oh my God. That's so sad.
and they were like, I'm like, miss, I think I need to go to the hospital. I don't know if y'all can help. I think I need an IV. I need something.
Was it a medicated detox? Like you got Suboxone eventually?
Yeah, they gave me, I think it was Subutex.
Okay.
Suboxone or Subutex.
Right, okay.
But it did nothing.
Right.
It did nothing. And
when it wears off, you're still sick.
Fuck. It took me 30 days to fucking...
Yeah, me too. Last one.
To get, and I never forget the lady coming in like, oh, I didn't realize you were doing 5 grams a day. I see why you're so sick. She like went to the store, brought me a ginger ale and everything. I forget her name, but she was like the sweetest old lady. The one thing I did different that time was I was like, I don't think I need any medication, because I think I know what my problem is. And that was also what I learned during that 6 months, is that I'm plagued by fear, resentment, and self-centeredness to such an extreme, you know, and I might not have come to terms with it then, but I was aware of it. Okay. And once I became aware, I can't ever forget it. So I go to Journey Pure. From there, I go through this program called PPR, right? I couldn't go to the co-ed one because I fucked it up, and now I'm in the all men's one in Oceanside, right? And
so you come back out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now the other one, that one was in Dana Point, San Juan Capistrano, all up there. And I'm over here in Oceanside, and I'm in the house, and one of the guys got another guy as a sponsor, and they were gonna go to a meeting, and I was like, can I come too? They were going somewhere, and I was just like, can I come too? And I remember asking that guy to be my sponsor, because I was like, I wasn't completely done with the idea that white people were out to get me, because he was a black old head. Kung Fu Kenny. That's my guy, Kenny. If you watching this, Kenny, you my guy, bro. Thank you. And he had 5 years, and that's all I wanted at the time, was to stay sober, because it was like my head was like I do not want to use. I do not want to get high ever again in a day of my life. Till the day I don't want to be like that ever again. He started to like take me to meetings and come read the book with me and do the steps, and I've been sober ever since. There's a lot that's happened in between these 6 years of sober, but I don't know where to start, or like with the help me with
I'll help you.
Okay.
So that's your sobriety date, which is incredible.
Thank you.
So we'll start with this. Do you go into a sober living after
Yes.
PPR?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to a cash pay sober living. Rent was $450 a month, but there were 22 of us in that motherfucker, and it was rough.
Was it the one in Vista? No, that's where I went.
It was the one right in Oceanside. It was actually down the street from PPR.
Okay.
Are you familiar with PPR?
No, I know the name.
Okay.
But
they're out of business currently.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I just know some of like the really cheap sober livings around here, but I don't think, this makes really sad, I don't think any of them are $450 anymore, and I don't know what I would have done. I had to start out $300. I couldn't even afford a room. They let me stay on the couch for $300, and after like 3 months my back was hurting so bad from sleeping on the couch that I like had to pay $425 or something and move into a room, but I barely had the fucking $300, you know, and I had to pay it back. Like they let me move in and then I paid them, you know. But I think now Medi-Cal also helps you with your first month of sober living, which is helpful.
But now minimum wage in California is fucking $16.50 an hour.
Yeah.
So if you work 80 hours a week, you can afford $800 a month.
80 hours a week though.
$40.
40 hours would be full time.
If you work a full-time job, you can afford
$800 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that was one of the things. So I got my sponsor, and then I became super close with his sponsor, and they used to like tell me things like, because I would stress the fuck out. Like I don't come for money.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna stay in California. I just know I don't want to get high at the time.
Yeah.
Right. And then at this time, my father moved to Georgia, and like they were living. I don't want to talk bad about my peoples, but they were living bad.
Okay. Like,
and I went out to visit them one time, and I was like, the only way I could describe it, and I don't like talking bad about my peoples, but it was just like you ever been in a place so dirty that you go take a shower and it does nothing because it's so dirty and your clothes still stink.
Yeah.
And it's just like bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to go there, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And
right.
They used to tell me things like, trust God. Worry about today. Why are you worried about some shit that's going to happen 3 months later when you can have the highest quality of today? You're working, save your money, and don't buy Jordans. You know, like simple things.
Yeah.
Simple things. And I remember just saying that to myself, just trust God. It's going to work. If this shit don't work out, then it don't fucking work out. But
I love what you just said. Don't worry about the future when you could have the highest quality of today. I love that. I love that.
And it's been ingrained in me since early in my sobriety. And
so what did you do for work at first? You move into sober living, and what was your first job?
Oh my God. So the rehab I'm in, there's this fucking lady that's, I'll talk bad about this
okay.
lady. Ooh, no, I'm not going to talk bad about her, but she just was, her personal life. Like she was like with a guy that was still drinking and using. She had 2 years sober, didn't really go to meetings. She would just yell at me a lot, and I did not appreciate that. But I'm in such a vulnerable state, I could put it, that it's like, all right. And she was like, you just have to get a job right now. And my boy was working at IHOP, and he got me a job at IHOP.
Okay.
So, and mind you, I didn't look like this when I first got sober. I had a big ass afro.
You did?
Oh man, with some braids, everything. Yeah. So, because I wouldn't get my hair cut, so it just grew and grew and grew. Yeah. And I had like a fucking big ass beard. And I'm working at IHOP, and my job duties were to greet people and smile. That's fucking hard. That was not on my, like, I fucking despised it. Like, I got it.
When you think about it, though, do you feel like that was like a God job, that it made you have to start to smile and be pleasant?
It was a get well job.
Okay.
God job, probably. It probably, like, stepping stools.
Yeah.
And they were, like, using meth in there and stuff and selling it. And so eventually I got from there. I stayed there for maybe like a month and a half, and I was able to get a job at Staples, where, man, that shit was challenging. So I'm fucking working as a, I think they say technology associate or something. Like, it's a fucking get well job. I'm moving printers. I'm sitting here, and motherfuckers come in having dilemmas about office papers, and I'm over here trying to figure out how the fuck I'm gonna stay in California. And it's just like, and what they told me was to not worry about that. Just take care of God's children. Show up to work on time. Because in my head, I think minimum wage at the time was like $10 or something, and I'm making like $11, and I'm thinking like, man, these motherfuckers are getting a deal on me, man. Fuck this place, fuck these people, they ain't even working. And like, you know, I suffer from this idea that if everyone would do it my way, it'd be perfect. You know what I mean? And what I've learned is that if I just go with the flow of things, like I show up, even though it's a get well job, I'm just gonna show up on time. I'm gonna work as hard as I can, like I'm getting paid $1 million. Everything will work out. And that was my experience. Is that I went to rehab one day. We did like a meditation group or something, So I'm like meditated. I'm feeling good.
Oh, so you started meditating too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Just at that day, we had an in-depth meditation. It was like 20 minutes and I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I'm like on cloud 10.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And I'm working there and I'm working hard and I'm in a good mood. And this dude just comes up to me and he was like, man, it's hard to find good help out here. Do you want to come work for me? And he was like in the auto industry. And at first I was like, I don't know about all that, but I went and checked it out, and then I started working over there, and now I sell cars, and like, you know what I mean. And my one friend that shot me up, that taught me how to hustle. I used to work in like the phone department at a Toyota store, and it was like he showed me like they're super meticulous about their like phone script, how you talk to people. So I had really good training in the beginning, but I didn't realize it at the time.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so I go over to this place and I'm doing exceptionally well, and it's all from the training from that.
Yeah.
And that my boy did well and taught me, but I still wasn't really making that much. But it was like a step up, better to me and my ego than working at Staples.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm working there. So my insurance ran out and they told me I had to leave the sober living, like the IOP program. So I'm like, all right, fuck y'all. And that same day that it cut out, they had a bed open at that $450 a month place the same day. You know what I mean? And I was able to get in there. Okay. I didn't have all the money for the thing, but I had enough. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was all right.
Yeah.
I was working at Staples when I transitioned to the sober living. And it was like I had everything I needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm in this house with all these guys. I'm cool with some, but not all. And there's a lot of personalities, but I would just go to a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm done with my steps at that time. Like I went through them, and I'm just day in and day out, just trying. You know, like just trying. Like I don't know where I'm going. I just don't want to get high. Yeah.
When were you able to get a car, or did you already have one somehow?
No, I didn't have a car. It was when I transitioned to that next spot, to the answering. So that job was like you would put like a Kelly Blue Book instant cash offer, and then you'd come see me. I appraise your car. We buy. It was like a used car dealership.
Okay.
And I got a car from there.
Oh shit! Okay.
Which was cool. And I didn't need a co-signer. I was able to get it all on my. It was exactly how much I can afford.
Yeah.
And everything just worked out slowly.
And isn't that crazy? And this is one of the reasons why I do this show, because I was so worried in the beginning, as were you, as were most of us. Like, how is any of this ever going to work out? Like, if you do the math on what you have and how much shit costs and how fucking old you are and how much you're making, none of it is going to add up to having a life at all. And it doesn't if you do the math. Right. But once you start doing this stuff and doing some sort of recovery, and this is so cliche, but taking like the next right indicated action. Yeah, exactly. Somehow you're not working on like this logic timeline anymore. You're working on God's timeline. Right. And somehow it works out. Like with you, like the day that you had to move out, that bed opened up.
Right. It was amazing. Yeah.
And I've actually found that to be true, and I'm sure you have too. So 6 years now, right?
6 years, yeah.
So like even when I owned my studio, when you first got here, I was telling you I had the studio and it was COVID. Like I fucking was so panicked because we have 34 spin bikes. The day, like the weekend after they closed us, we delivered all the spin bikes to clients' houses to start, like charging a monthly rental, and we were doing online classes. And then like 3 months later, they said people could come back. But I was making money on them being in people's houses, and I didn't know if anybody was going to want to come back. And also, there are all these restrictions on space, and I was fucking so panicked. And like every single time the state of California opened up another level of percentage occupancy, that number of people would return bikes. Oh. Like they would say, okay, now you can have, we start with like 10% occupancy in the room. Okay. So that's 5 bikes. How am I going to take 5 bikes from people? They're going to be mad at me. 5 people would call and be like, hey, I'm ready to come back. Can you take this? 5. And I'd be like, okay. And then 2 months later, they would say, okay, we can get 20% occupancy. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go pull bikes from people. And then like 6 people would call. It was crazy. And so that luck continued to remain with me, but it's been so difficult for me to still have faith in that. I panicked every day of that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you have faith now when you come up against things that higher power is going to come through? Or is that something you still work on?
So it will always be until the day I die, a continuous struggle, but it's like just remembering and reminding myself. So one of the biggest things they used to tell me too is don't worry about how it's going to get done, just do it. And it'll all work itself out. Don't worry about the how.
Yeah.
Just go towards that direction. Do these things. And some of the stuff that I was doing didn't seem like it correlated to this other stuff, but it all just came together
totally
in its own way.
Yeah.
So yes, I have faith. That's probably the biggest thing that I have. But my struggle is that I'm still super selfish. I'm still super self-centered. And it's like I want what I want and I want it now. You know what I mean? And my ego is trying to kill me constantly. And
so how do you manage that now?
By going to meetings, by sponsoring people, and just when I'm at a meeting, it's just like a reminder. Like, I remember what it was like coming on the van and wanting to fucking kill my house manager. And it's like I remember walking to meetings, and I remember all that stuff. Yeah, it just never. It's like when I'm integrated in the fellowship, the program, it reminds me. Totally. Or when I'm reading a book with a guy, like it reminds me of just like, oh yeah, this shit all just works out. He's gonna be so loud. Can you hear him snoring? Yeah. He's a good boy.
Is he cute though? Look at him, he's like a baby. Do you have any type of daily routine for that kind of stuff in terms of like, do you still do a meditation, prayer, working out? Like, what is your daily, we call it the daily reprieve from that ego, from that selfishness. What does your daily reprieve plan look like, if you have one?
So there's one outline in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, but I don't follow it because
I don't even know what it is. What does it say?
So if you got a book, I'll read it to you.
I don't have one on me. I got some upstairs, but
it's all in there. But it starts at night, really, what I'm supposed to do. And it says when we retire at night, we constructively, meaning that I look at my day from a different angle, review our day. We look and see where we're selfish, dishonest, afraid, self-seeking. Was I thinking of myself most of the time? Was I thinking of others or what I could do for life? So what I'm supposed to do is that at the end of my day, how was CJ today? Was he selfish? Was he only thinking about himself? Did any fear prop up? How was my interaction with you when I first met you? Was I of the maximum service to you when I met you during my time here? Or was I thinking about my ego, of how I looked, of how I sound good, and things of that nature?
Like a 10 step, basically. Yeah. An inventory, yeah.
Right,
okay.
So I do an inventory, right? And then on awakening, it says we consider our next 24 hours ahead. So I'm thinking like, all right, what am I going to do today? But it says before we begin, we ask God to divorce. And it was important. That word is important because it means it was something that I was once in love with. We ask God to divorce our thinking from dishonest, self-seeking, and selfish motives. And it's important that I read that or I hear that because it reminds me that that's my automatic setting.
Right. Okay.
Because I'm in love with myself. I'm in love with coming up. I'm in love with looking good. I just think about my day and it's like, who am I going to see? Do I hold any resentment towards them? Can I look at them for a human being? Can I look at God's child like God's child? Can I show them love and tolerance? And it's a struggle. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I'm not, some people say, oh yeah, I got sober and I just love no, that ain't my jam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm afraid. I struggle from fear a lot.
Yeah.
Meaning that my head doesn't tell me I'm afraid. It pops up in weird ways and like jealousy and resentment. And it's like if I see someone doing better than me, I'm like, man, fuck that person. But really, I'm just afraid I'm not gonna have enough for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I constantly have to check what I'm thinking about, and I constantly have to say it out loud to someone else.
Yeah.
For someone because my head is so strong. I also go to therapy too.
Okay.
I go to therapy every other week.
Okay. Have you done that pretty consistently throughout this period of sobriety, or is that newer or?
Pretty. Since I was 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, but it ebbs and flows.
Right. Yeah.
Like when I look up and I realize that I'm in constant conflict with things or stuff and I don't like the way I feel, I'll take a step back, slow down, and start doing this stuff like intensely.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
on if I'm even kill, I'm doing this like every other night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'm like writing the stuff down and taking time in the morning. I'm just super bit. I'm like on go mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my first thought when I wake up isn't like God
Isn't
direct
this
my
stuff.
thing. Yeah.
Right.
My first thought when I wake up is I need money right now.
Right.
I need to get to it right now.
Right,
You know what I
totally.
mean? And I already got like 10 tasks I need to do, and I'm trying to get them all like.
Yeah.
And it's important for someone like me to slow down.
Right.
And plug in.
Right.
Because you just, like we just talked about it, right? Is that when I got here, I'm in this sober living with all these guys. I have no idea how my life's going to work out, but it all worked out as long as I align my thoughts and actions towards this type of thinking.
Yeah.
But the alcoholism in me takes me away from it. You know, my head would drag me away from the best thing that's ever happened, the best type of living I've ever had.
So what does your life look like today in terms of are you still in sober living?
No, thank God. Oh my God.
So what does your life look like now?
Man,
You drove here in a very nice car. I was like,
edit that out.
You want me to take that out? Or
No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
Actually, I'm going to leave it in if that's okay, because I want people to hear that.
Yes.
When you pulled up, I opened the door and I was like, that's not him. And then you opened the door and I was like, oh, that's him. That's a nice Porsche. That's a nice car. And you did it from scratch on your own. That's kind of,
God's help. Yeah.
Well, yeah, for sure. For sure.
I sell cars. You know, I'm pretty good at what I do. You know, just being out in the nitty gritty, you just learn how to. Like, I'm good at gathering information. I'm good with talking with people. I'm good with overcoming objections. I'm good with just getting to the point of things.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, now I work in Orange County, that same neighborhood.
Oh, you do? So you drive up there?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
It's weird because it's like I remember like being over here getting kicked out my sober living, and now I work up here.
Yeah, totally.
So it's different.
Yeah. And you live with just sober roommates, or eventually you moved out?
I have one roommate.
Okay.
You know, and I make enough money where I could live on my own, but I just don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to have just someone to, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Just to walk through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to, because I'll isolate myself. You know what I mean? Or I'll focus on things that don't need to be focused on. Is probably the best way to put it. And yeah, I don't know if I should share this. All right. We're going to go here into a snippet part, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to share this with you.
Okay.
Right. And I don't know if I want you to air this, but
okay.
So when I had probably like 3 years sober, my sponsor burned me for he ran up a credit card in my name, $5,000.
Oh shit.
And then he took about $7,000 in cash from me, right? And so this was my first sponsor. He eventually became my sponsor.
Okay.
Because I thought he was like that guy.
Yeah.
And so I'm like fucking 3 years sober. I'm fucking mad as fuck because this dude tried to play me, and it clicked in my head when he didn't bring me my money. And it's then I come to find out this dude's a hustler. He's hustled a gang of people in AA.
Oh man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just a fucking lot to be inside meetings, see this particular person, and to just know, man, but why you act like that?
You still see him?
Yeah, I try to stay away.
Okay.
Every now and again, I might run into him.
But he's still around and in the program.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
And the crazy part is that they, all them old heads know this.
They know.
They know. You know what I mean? But they'll be all, laughy with him and jokey. And the part that fucks me up is that there'll be times where they'll have a fallout with him. They'll come run to me.
Right.
And try to, and I'll be like, nah, bro. If you knew what he did to me, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Until he did some dumb shit to you, and now you trying to run to me. I don't want that energy.
How did you handle it when that happened?
I just cut off all contact.
When you realized he wasn't paying you back, you just let it go and said, fuck it.
And I paid the credit card off. Thank God.
That's so annoying.
That I finally paid that thing off. It was $5,000. But it was so this is important that I share some of this stuff.
I was going to say, I'd like to kind of leave this in because this is a big deal to get fucked over like this and stay sober.
Right. So I'm fucking 3 years sober. I was working with the dude, right? Working for him. And it's like, I had to make a decision like, bro, I can't fuck with you at all. So I don't have no money, and I'm starting over like a fucking newcomer with nothing, you know? But the only thing I did have, though, were the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. That if I really trust my higher power, like I had this idea of a higher power, and I still do, of being all powerful, that anything I need will be provided. Why would I lash out on this guy? If I know it's going to take care of itself, why would I go and lash out on this guy? Or do some dumb shit that puts me in jail for the rest of my life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like it was a grind. Dealing with anger, dealing with people in AA, and going and having, so I would stop that job, and I had to go get a temp agency job of hard manual labor. And I had to work there for 3 months, making fucking minimum wage of delivering and installing appliances.
Yeah.
Right? And so I went to the job that I'm at now. I had went and applied there, but they didn't really want to hire me. And I really didn't want to work there because I didn't want to work those like long hours of doing it. But then I started working at the temp agency, and it was like so hard. I was like, fuck, I'll take it. But I thought I was out of it. And then they just out of nowhere, the dude called me. And I was like contemplating on even taking the job because I was like, fuck it, I'm already here. I know it's going to work out eventually. But he was just like, man, just come up here. Because if you hurt yourself while you're doing this hard manual labor, you're just out of money. Over here, just use your gift. Come on. And I went up there, and it was like it took me a while to get going, but once I started like understanding the product I was selling, and understanding like how the system, like putting in my own systems and stuff and getting customers, it's like it turned my life around. And I was able to put my friends on too, like sponsees and stuff, like, yo, come over here, work, and they get their own money too. But it was like, it was like I remember just waking up angry every day that I had to make that payment on that credit card, or every month I'd make that payment on that credit card. It just triggered this ball. So when you ask me things like how often did I used to do it every night. I used to do that stuff every night
when that was going on.
Oh my, I had to, because I would have did something stupid. And the center of it all was, I'm resentful at this person. I'm afraid I'm not gonna have enough. You know what I mean? And it's like I constantly had to check it. And then I realized the importance of it, because my head will play this sick game on me the moment I wake up.
I love that, because so many people go through shit like that, like you owe child support or you owe alimony or something similar, you know? And when those things crop up more is when those principles are always available to utilize more, you know, which I think is like the beauty of this thing that we get to do, you know? What is your relationship like now with your family and people back home? Do you ever go back home and visit, like to Patterson or to Philadelphia? Or
the last time I went to Patterson was probably 2 years ago, and it was because my sister's mom died. So I went there to go to like the service. I was only there for like 2 days. My father just died March 1st. The relationship with him was rocky. You know, some people share that their family comes back, but it was like my pops was, and I hate talking bad about my peoples, you know what I mean? But he was brought up in a certain way, you know what I mean? Where it's like an old Puerto Rican tradition of like, I don't understand why you can't just be sober. I don't understand why you can't come over. It's because you don't love me. Why you can't come over here and be around me, and you know what I mean? And he was just bitter towards me. You know, I made amends and stuff to him, but what he wanted me to do for my amends was like to go stay with him. Go
live there.
And it's like I can't. Because then I'm gonna get high and I'm gonna fuck myself off. You know what I mean? And I don't think he ever really understood that. But that's not my stuff. You know what I mean? Like they say, I got to put the life mask on for myself first before I put someone else's on. And with my mom, it's a lot better, but again, it's just like I love my mom, but it's like she got her own stuff going on. I'm just becoming a man, you know what I mean? I'm just handling my own business. I'm living on my own, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's all right. Like I'll talk to my mom every couple, like sometimes I'll talk to her every day, sometimes I'll talk to her once a week, sometimes I'll talk to her once a month. But it's like a open communication. I talk to my sister. All my other brothers and sisters are way older than me. Like they're my mom's age. So it's like I don't really talk to them that much. You know what I mean? But
they got to be proud of you, though. Your mom's got to be proud of you.
She tells me all the time she's proud of me.
Where you guys were, and where you are now, you know? Have they ever come out and seen like...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom came out to visit one time and saw everything. She loved it. My sister came out, visited, saw everything. She loved it.
Yeah.
But it's just been... It's been a journey.
Yeah.
And it continues on. It's not even like just continuing on.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is in store, but it was just it was like a slow grind for me, and it continues to be. Just you know what I mean?
For someone that's listening, this is the last question I'm going to ask you. Someone that's listening, if they also feel like my life is not fair, like the shake I've gotten is not fair, like, God, are you serious? Like, the house is burning down, like, I shouldn't have to live like this. I know not everyone lives like this. If somebody feels that way and they're either wanting to get sober or they're in early recovery and they feel like there's no point, nothing's ever going to change, what would you say?
So I wouldn't, my thing is I don't give advice to people. And the pure reason is because I've come to find out that I make my own life unmanageable. So anything I try to tell you is from my experience. I can share my experience with someone else. Is that I was at a point where I don't care what I did. I just know I couldn't do heroin anymore.
Sure. Okay.
That superseded everything and anything that I had going on.
Totally.
And I was willing to do whatever it took to stay sober from heroin. And what I've learned through this sobriety that I've had is that there's so much more than just staying sober. That if I would have just stayed sober out of pure spite and disgust of heroin, I would have robbed myself from all these experiences and connections. You know, I have a fellowship about me. I've seen people recover. I have lifelong friends. I have a job where I'm respected at. I'm respected in my community. It's like there's just things that I can't put a price on. Things that I didn't even know that I wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I came here just to stop shooting heroin. Yeah. That was like if I had that, I would have been I thought I would have been happy. Yeah. And what I've come in contact with is just a power that solves all my problems. You know what I mean? That I'm grounded in ways that I see people that they wish they could be like that. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And but for me, like, when I was going through the steps, like, it was just, I realized that every time I used, it always led me back to New Jersey, being pitiful and just, like, not being able to stop. No matter what I started with, it always led me to that same dead-end, pitiful place. Yeah. And I had to look at it like my head is trying to convince me to get high. And I need help. I need someone to guide me. And I've, like, going through the literature and meetings, I've come to realize that the only hope I have is this type of lifestyle that I live now. And that's, like, being as honest as I can. I'm a car salesman, you know what I mean? So I be finessing, but I try to be as honorable as I can be. You know what I mean? And I need to rely on this power greater than myself, because when I try to control and manage my life, I run it right into the ground. Yeah. Every single time, you know. I lied. This is my last question. Your favorite step, if you have one. My favorite step. My favorite step. I'm so loud. I like them. I like all the steps. Or the impact they all had, I guess. Right. Yeah. So I can't really choose a single one. What I can say is that there's an importance behind all of them, and if one's out of whack, they're all out of whack. Yeah, you know what I mean. I agree with that. Probably the one that I'm most grounded in, that I have to remind myself in, is that first step, that I cannot use drugs and alcohol successfully like other people. Right. I suffer from an allergy. Whenever I put something in my body, I have an abnormal reaction. No matter what it is, you know what I mean? And sometimes it doesn't even have to be a drug. Sometimes I get some money and I'm acting crazy. Yeah. You know, like I'm living that thing up. You know what I'm saying? Or if I'm with a girl, or if I love, I'm too much into that. It's too much, yeah. You know, or what food or whatever. Yeah, I'm in the gym too much. I'm just like, I have a condition where if it makes me feel different, I don't know how to regulate it. Yeah. I don't know how to balance it, and I make my life unmanageable. Right. And I need to rely on this power greater than myself. I need it. I need it.
Yeah.
There's no other solution for someone like me. I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Well, dude, thank you so much. This is awesome. I'm so glad Ian connected us. Did you have fun? Was this fun?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You've never done an interview like this before, right?
No.
Well, I'm glad you did it.
Yeah.
He was like, "What's the name of the show?" And I was like, "I need to put it on more stuff if it's not anywhere." That's good to know, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say the name again.
Chasing Heroin.
Okay.
But heroin with an E.
Okay.
So not like chasing heroin, the drug, but like I found my inner best version of myself through my addiction, actually. So chasing heroin led me to find my actual inner heroine, which is why that's the name of the show.
I like it.
You can relate to that, right?
For sure.
Like, because think about if you had never ended up a drug addict, if you had just like lived a sort of manageable life in Patterson,
I'd be
you
in
might
prison.
still be living there.
No, I'd be in prison.
Right.
I'd be in prison.
Yeah.
So that's the part we didn't talk about is that I like exciting shit.
Yeah.
Which is normally bad stuff.
Right.
And some of my main struggles in life is that moral compass. You know what I mean? Because stuff that you may think is absolutely wrong, I have been conditioned to think it's okay to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or if someone approaches you in a certain way, it's okay to handle it this way. That's why I go to therapy, is because it's like I need like there's like the AA part of like I can't drink and use, I need to be okay within myself, and then there's like a therapeutic part of I need to sort through the stuff that's been conditioned in my head, and I need to find like a good baseline.
So in that way, are you kind of grateful that the addiction got you out of
For
there
sure.
and into AA and into this world?
For sure.
Yeah.
Into this type of fellowship,
Into this type of
into
lifestyle.
type of connections
Yeah.
and relationships. I mean I did have like a bad relationship with one person, but the overall whole of the fellowship
Yeah.
means well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I agree with that too.
And a lot of the stuff, what I've learned is in the literature. That I don't have to rely on what someone's telling me. I can read it and understand it in the literature. So I used to go to a lot of men's meetings, and one of the things that they used to say is that I'm not responsible for my disease, but I am responsible for my recovery. Right. So it's on me to learn what is wrong with me, what my solution is, and how to access that solution. And what it really boils down to is how I'm thinking of people around me and people I interact with, like those thoughts, and what actions I'm taking on a day-to-day basis. You know, and I have to closely monitor them because it's so easy for them to be so far astray, especially with the way that my head thinks and the way that I've been conditioned. Because it's like, again, I wanted to be a drug dealer. You know, like that was my aspiration in life. Like, you know, I'm like to hurt people, and I was bullied a lot. Like drug dealers, Tony Montana never got bullied. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
so I wanted to like my way of thinking isn't my default way of thinking isn't right.
Right.
Like I have serious challenges, and that's okay because there's help available for people like me, and I'm actively looking to change. I've learned that when I change the stuff inside, everything on the outside changes. Sometimes it doesn't happen instantly like heroin, but it will change. And it's like I have a lot of hope now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just different. I remember being hopeless, just being like, man, fuck it. Like just so angry all the time. And it's like now I can and relax.
That's really beautiful.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay right now.
Well, thank you so much, man. Thanks for driving over here and for doing this. I appreciate it so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
All right.